Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we have talked about the independence issue and the SNP government many times, in particular the fact that it is a reserved matter and that the SNP government do not have the competence to deal with it. I mean, of course, they don't have the competence to deal with anything, but particularly in this case, we mean that they don't have the legal right to deal with independence. It is, as I say, a reserved matter there. And this has even been confirmed, of course, by the Supreme Court. And therefore, any matters arising from independence can only be seen as a party political issue. It is quite wrong for governmental time, effort and money to be put into it. And of course, now we have Jamie Hepburn, who is a Minister for Independence, a man who himself has even said that he is incapable of delivering the very thing that he was put in charge to deliver. He knows it. He has no real function. And yet the whole thing is costing millions a year. You got him and then you got all these civil servants trying to push and all the printing costs and things for what is effectively public money going into a party political issue. It's quite wrong. People are complaining, and these complaints are going all the way up to the Audit Commission. I want to see that this man is removed from office, and the SNP are forced to remove a Minister for Independence at great public expense. And I want all monies currently spent to date on it to be billed to the SNP themselves. That should break them. Anyway, we'll take a look at this article to see what is going on and why so many people are angry. Here goes. So, Skexit Minister Jamie Hepburn prompts blizzard of complaints from Scots over the misuse of public cash. This is a crime. This is actually a crime. Humza Yousaf has been flooded with a deluge of complaints over his appointment of a taxpayer-funded $98,000 a year independence minister, with Scots labelling it unlawful. Now, we covered this at the time when he was appointed, but what's happened is that recently they've had a whole sort of resurgent push to try and get this overturned and get this man out of a job. It's once people started realising the true cost of it, of course. So Humza Yousaf is under growing pressure over his appointment of key ally Jamie Hepburn as a $98,000 a year, read $120,000 a year with expenses, independence minister. As the role prompted a blizzard of complaints from angry Scots, voters blitzed the Scottish government with correspondence to urge him to explain why the job exists. Well, it's a job for his mate, isn't it? He's got this mate, and he said, well, you know, you're only an MP, you're earning 50,000 a year, 60,000, whatever it is. If I make you this minister, you put you on 120,000 a year. Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? It'll screw the Scottish people for a role for which it should not even exist. The Scottish Daily Express can reveal that almost 50 complaints were filed with officials over the last 4 months about the party political post, which is funded by the taxpayer because the SNP haven't got the money to fund it themselves. The First Minister promised to pro-Indie newspaper Pravda, the National, that he would bring in the role during the leadership campaign. It's not even good for wiping your arse, that paper. It leaves a very bitter taste, you know. This has provoked anger among Scots, who pointed out that the SNP executive were ignored 52% of those who voted against breaking up the UK. Many filed formal complaints with the government, while others called on Mr Yousaf to explain himself or resign. Well, he won't resign. Well, he's worked so hard to get there. He's going to be ousted soon, though, so hang on. Don't hold your breath, love. One Aberdeen resident wrote, "You must remove this ministerial post from your cabinet without delay. It is neither lawful nor acceptable for taxpayers' money to be spent on the furtherance of party political ends." Well said. And he's right, because it is absolutely party political, because they've been told by the Supreme Court that they have no reason to be dealing with independence. It's outside of their remit. Another added that they'd be writing to the Audit Commission and head of the Civil Service, as they say, "I am one of the people of Scotland that you stated you wish to represent. I'm extremely unhappy that you have appointed someone to this post. Firstly, without any consultation of the people of Scotland. You have only 70 to 75,000 who are SNP supporters, but there are over 5 million people in Scotland who also have a voice, most of whom vote against the SNP. One angry Scot did congratulate Mr Hepburn for his promotion, as he's worked very hard for Cumbernauld, but wrote, "I must raise my total objection to any of my tax money being used for the misguided ideology of independence." He says, "I do not and never will support independence, as quite frankly Scotland will never be able to afford it, and I fear for the impact on our economy, infrastructure and total well-being. Can the 55% of people who do not want independence have their tax refunded?" Good idea. Take it at court. I really would love to see that. Another concerned citizen asked whether a minister for the union would also be appointed. Oh yeah, bitchin' idea. Brilliant idea. While someone else calling him to cancel this appointment or resign because it is unlawful and ultra vires, as the constitutional issue of independence is beyond the powers and remit of the devolved Scottish Government and Parliament. Again, this is what we've been saying all along. They're not even allowed to do it. This isn't a governmental matter. It's not within their gift to offer it. It's a Westminster issue. If Westminster want to have a minister for independence, that's a different issue altogether. Opposition parties pointed to these complaints as a sign the SNP have not got the priorities of the majority of Scots correct. Just think about all that money, millions a year, that could be spent elsewhere. We've seen how bad the NHS is. Those millions, I can think of a better place to put them. Scottish Conservative Deputy Constitution, External Affairs and Culture spokesman, long title, Alexander Stewart MSP, told the Daily Express, "It is clear there is widespread anger among the public at the SNP spending copious amounts of their money on a minister whose sole purpose is to push their party political independence obsession. Their anger is entirely justified, as there is simply no justification for an already bloated government handing Jamie Hepburn the role of Minister for Independence. Wasting time and resources on their top priority means the real priorities of Scotland are being blatantly ignored." And they are. And everything is going wrong, and yet they can still find the money for pushing this shit. But they can't find money for hospitals or schools or anything like that. But hey, we've got another leaflet coming out at a cost of £1 million. We found the money for that, strangely enough. Scottish Liberal Democrat Willie Rennie said, "People are completely right to call out this abject waste of both civil service time and ministerial salary. Everyone can see that Jamie Hepburn is doing a made-up job designed to convince activists that progress is being made." Progress is not being made. It is going backward. It's absolutely going backward. And then there's some lies and spin from the SNP government about how useful it is to have this man earning $120,000 a year in charge of a department that's costing millions a year for a job which he cannot do, in a role for which his government have no competence and for which the majority of Scots will reject. It's jobs for the boys, it's grift, and it is a misuse of public funds, and that is a crime. And Humza Yousaf needs to be prosecuted for it, because it was his idea to employ him. I shall stop there and I shall come up. So what's the take on this? Well, I'm going to say that it definitely is a misuse of public funds, and that most definitely is a crime. And so we need someone high profile, perhaps someone in the Conservative Party or in the Labour Party, to go to the police and to insist that they investigate this crime. And if they find that Humza Yousaf has appointed a man outside of his scope of reference at public expense, and it is a misuse of public funds, then they can arrest and charge Humza Yousaf for doing this and make him pay back every single penny to the public purse. And then give him 2 years in jail, something like that. I wouldn't say much. He'll do a year. That'll be fine. Wouldn't be the first time he's arrested, would it? So let's deal with that. And that's all it takes. So I'm hoping like someone like Jackie Bailey gets up, gets on the phone, phones the police, said, "Hi, it's Jackie Bailey, blah, blah, blah." Tells them what it is, say, "I don't want this matter dealt with." And it would be itchy bum time all round the SNP when the police are knocking on Humza Yousaf's door. And him, the oaf, Jamie Hepburn, and his wife. They're all in it. It's all grift. It's all basically legalised theft Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button. We are making progress, but it'd be nice to make it a little bit quicker. So, yeah, all you regulars who watch me and haven't yet subscribed, now's the perfect time. Just hit the button. That would be super, help the channel grow. And if you're a newcomer, do please also hit the button and join us as we explore the truth. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, they're all grifting, greedy sods. Bye.